I have to say our next guest will be a shot of caffeine. Unwittingly well timed to join us at this time, Don. By way of brief introduction, I do want everybody to know a little bit about you. You were born in Brooklyn, New York. Not that that's a bad thing.
Oh, Brooklyn!
And you started quenching your entrepreneurial thirst at the ripe age of 12. So you've got at least 10 years under your belt of entrepreneurship. You have built successful companies in various industries, from finance, publishing, mortgage, real estate, entertainment, and now you have developed a unique way to provide capital to Amazon sellers to grow their businesses. So nice follow-up actually to Anna's words from Yardline. It is unique. You reverse the risk for the seller, and you do not require any interest or monthly payments, and no loss of ownership for the seller. So we're really keen to learn more about that. AccrueMe, which is your business, has $100 million to provide to Amazon sellers to grow. And it seems that every economic downturn creates new models like never before and opportunities for AccrueMe. And you are definitely at the forefront of all those types of models and opportunities. Don, welcome.
Thank you, Christina. This is great. I'm excited. I love the whole idea that you said, a dose of caffeine. I love it.
I've known you to be no other way.
Blake said to tell some stories. I imagine I'll probably will. It seems to happen every once in a while. I have a few. Yeah. So as Christina said, and by the way, I've enjoyed these speakers today. This has been exciting. I love the quick hits, 20 minutes or so. Great insights, great information. I think what people are going to find is that what I'm going to be talking about is probably a little bit different than most of the others, because I have a different way of looking at starting businesses. But let me dig right in. I'm going to tell you what I'm hoping to explain to you today is the mindset of an entrepreneur. Everybody thinks they have that or know that, but I'm going to give you what my personal perception is. How to use leverage properly. And many people don't even know what leverage is, but I'm going to explain a little bit. Two of my favorite things. So Blake will get into starting stupid, which I hate to say it, but I'm very good at it, and the corridor effect. And I think you're going to find anybody here that's either started a business, looking to start a business, looking to buy a business, you're going to find these two concepts to be possibly life-changing, certainly mind-changing. So stay with me on this starting stupid and the corridor effect. And, it's always better to be the boss than the employee. And there are plenty of studies out there that will show you that being a boss, you live longer, you live healthier, and you're happier. So it's better to be the boss than the employee. So a quick story about the hiring manager and the old man. And I can talk about the old man because I kind of got there, So this hiring manager is interviewing this old man. And she says, my God, in all the years I've been a hiring manager, you are the best candidate I've ever seen for a position. You're a perfect fit. She says, but just tell me one thing that's not so good about you. And he says, I don't know. I might be too honest. And she laughs and she says, I don't think honesty is a negative. He goes, I don't give a shit what you think. So with that, let's keep going. Okay.
Sorry, I had to laugh at that one since you don't have an audience. Well,
oh, I appreciate it. So saving your pennies for a rainy day. So let me just talk about that for a second. As Christina said, I grew up in Brooklyn and now on Long Island. And I grew up in a low middle income family, if you will. If you saw the house that we were in Brooklyn, you would be shocked. But it was great. We grew up with a lot of love and a lot of support and a lot of belief in each other. I have three older sisters. My father worked for the government, so he had a civil servant mentality, and that's what he wanted me to do and my sisters to do as well. Because you get a civil service job, you're done, you're set. You put in your 20 or 30 years and you're done. And he always said, save your pennies for a rainy day. And from a young age, I would argue with him. And I said, Dad, I don't want to save my pennies for a rainy day. I want to spend them now. I want to enjoy. Anyway, he never understood that. But I think saving your pennies for a rainy day is the mindset of an employee. It's not a mindset of the rich. And I'm going to continue on that. So, in my mind, spend your money to make money. Buy a business, improve your business, buy the equipment that your company is going to need, pay for the conferences that you're going to go out to and learn, pay for things like this. If this was, was $1,000, it would be worth it. Pay for things that are going to increase your knowledge, and also pay for things that are enjoyment. My wife, early in our marriage, she would come and say, hey, I've set up this vacation for us, and it would be thousands of dollars. And I'd say, thousands of dollars? I need that money for the business. And she'd say, no, this is health insurance. And she was right. Taking time out to calm down, relax, enjoy, that is health insurance. So spend money on making money and on enjoyment, not on expensive cars and assets that depreciate, until you can fully afford it and easily afford it. And when you can, then go for it. Who cares? All right, so a little bit about me. So actually, Christina, I started my newspaper job when I was 11 years old on Long Island. That's back when we had actual paper boys. And I became the #1 salesperson for the Long Island Press. So understand, in Long Island, there are millions of people, so it wasn't a small task, but it was fun. And I had tons of money and took care of all my friends before school every day with bagels and yoo-hoos. I took out my first bank loan at 12 years old. Sounds a little crazy, but I'll explain that in a little bit. I have a finance and lending background. If anybody wants to connect with me on LinkedIn, I love connecting with people. It's my full name, Donald Henig. I have financed over, maybe $200 billion of mortgages over my career. It's a big number, but it's at least that. I've created businesses in finance. So you'll get a feel here. I didn't stay with one thing all the way through. I created businesses in finance, franchise, publication, technology, real estate, entertainment, and now e-commerce. Sounds a little crazy, but I came out of retirement now for this new opportunity with AccrueMe. And I'm going to explain to you in a little bit how we got into AccrueMe and the thinking behind how we started this new business. I think you're going to find that pretty interesting. So save zero and retire a multi-millionaire. I have to tell you flat out, I'm living proof of that. And it takes a lot of different things, but one of the things it takes is leverage and using other people's money. It could be family, friends, banks, credit cards, whatever. But using your own money to start the business is smart. But once you prove the model, go out and get the money that you need and build that business. Don't hesitate. Go all out. Go all out. And as a general rule of using leverage, only use it when you're profitable and you have a good business plan, something that you know is going to win. Because then that money, that extra money from, Yardline, from AccrueMe, from anybody, is going to help your business grow like wildfire. The worst thing you could do is use leverage when you have an unprofitable situation. That will hurt you really, really bad. So as a mentality, employees, like my parents, they strive to pay off debt, right? You hear it all the time. Oh, I can't wait. I've got 6 more years to pay off my mortgage, things like that. Or hey, I'm excited. I just paid off my student loans. Again, I have a different way of thinking. I believe in using that bank's money. I believe in using other people's money to grow. So my first loan in student loans, let me explain. When I was 12 years old, I came home one day. It was a Saturday, and I said to my father, Dad, will you take me to the bank? He said, why? I said, I want to take out a loan. He said, what would you want a loan for? Now understand, my parents had a mortgage. They didn't have a credit card. They didn't have any other loans. They wouldn't buy a car with credit. That would be crazy. That was it. They didn't believe in that. It's understandable. But I read somewhere at that age, I think it was in the penny stock news or the Wall Street Journal, which my father would bring home from time to time. And I would, chart stocks. Literally, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just enjoying it and trying to figure things out. I read something about you need a credit rating. What's that? So I went to the bank. I had $200. I gave them $200 for a passbook loan. And I took out a passbook loan against that $200. I paid it off in 6 months and I borrowed $400 and I kept going. So my parents thought I was crazy. When I was 16, I had a credit card. My parents still didn't have a credit card, just to put it in perspective. When it was time to buy a car, I didn't have to go to my parents and ask them to co-sign or for money or any of that. That's not the way it is. They wouldn't have done it anyway. I had enough money and I had enough credit to buy my own car. When it came to student loans, so think of the timing, the early 80s. Here I am, I'm working full-time during the day, going to school full-time at night, and I learn about student loans. I also learned that, it just doesn't take much to learn these things. I learned that banks paid 80% of college education if you got a B or better. So I was like a nutcase. I'm going to get a job at a bank. I'm going to, have them pay 80% of my school. Perfect. So I get a job at a bank. They're paying 80%. I'm making enough money to pay the other 20%. Well, now there's this thing called student loans. It was fairly new, or at least the government was getting involved in them at the time. To put interest rates in perspective, I got my first mortgage around that time at 16.5% plus 6 points I had to pay to get that loan. Okay. So now I didn't need a student loan, but I borrowed the money on a student loan because it was at 2 or 3%. It was totally deferred, no payments until 9 months after you graduated. I'm like, geez, this is a gift. Why wouldn't I take a gift? So I took the money, I invested it in the stock market, and I made money. And I was able to buy my first house, not long after, while I was still in college. I bought my second house also while I was still in college. But this is the mentality of getting a loan, not being afraid of it, and investing it. All right, so the number one obstacle to starting a business or buying a business is fear. And that fear is, I don't know enough. So I've heard many speakers talk about, gathering all the information, analyzing it to the nth degree. I spoke to a group of Amazon sellers recently, and these are all top-notch sellers with businesses worth millions of dollars each. And I asked them a simple question. If you knew now everything that you would have to know before you started the business, would you have started the business? And they all laughed and said, no way. Of course not. It would be like, planning on going into a room and just banging your head against a wall 1,000 times. You wouldn't do it. But if you started that Amazon business and you figured it out and you made one mistake, okay, you learn your lesson. You overcome that. It's an obstacle. You go to a conference, you learn about other things that people have made mistakes about. You get better. You read it, articles, you learn about that. You have friends, you ask them, you share stories, you learn. Before you know it, you're pretty damn good. So that's the number one obstacle is fear. And the only way to start, in my mind, is to start stupid. Really, you're never going to know everything. You're never going to know everything. So just get your toes in the water. Just go down the path. Don't be afraid. Just do it. And the best way to learn, we all know, is by doing. So there's something that I've always referred back to is the corridor effect. All right. So the corridor effect, if you think about it, corridor is a long hallway and there's no lights on in this hallway. Just picture it. So you're at the beginning of it and you're ready to walk down this corridor, which is starting a business. You can't see a hell of a lot. You might be able to see 5 feet. You don't know what's down there. You don't know everything. So, but you start putting your foot in the corridor. You start taking the next step and the next step. Before you know it, there's an obstacle there. You've got to step over that obstacle. You figure out how to get over that obstacle. There's another one. There's another one. There's another one. Wow, this was tough. If you knew about all these obstacles in the beginning, you might not have done it. But now there's also something else down that corridor. There's a door and there's some windows. And now you look down this, open this door, and you're like, wow, there's an opportunity over here that I wouldn't have seen. I wouldn't have known enough. Your knowledge now is at a level where you can now take advantage of this other opportunity. Good example. I started an Amazon business. I run my business. I become very good at PPC. I build some tools around it. Wow, here's that door. That door might be, now I'm going to train others. I might sell my tools to others to help them with their PPC issues. I wouldn't have had that chance unless I went down that path. So take that shot. This is something I put together that I thought people would have a visual that they will, for me, I don't think you can forget this. You see the success on the right, and you see the comfort zone on the left where we all live. And you can see in the middle, this brick wall called fear. And this is my visualization of the way this is. And people want to go to success. So you can see they're walking towards success, but they run into fear. And what do? They turn around, they go back to their comfort zone. Can't blame them. We all have done it. We all do it. And sometimes it makes sense to do that. But the only way to get to success is to overcome that fear. And it's hard, but that's what we all have to do. That's an entrepreneur. So let me keep moving here, and some examples of starting stupid. All right. I didn't know anything about financial planning. So I studied as best I could. I got all my licenses. I did everything I had to do. I started a financial planning business. I bought my first house. I bought my first new car. It was great. While I was a financial planner, something happened where interest rates dropped, in a big way. Well, all of a sudden there was a mortgage refinance boom that never happened before. Financial planners started asking me about mortgages for their clients. I don't know anything about mortgages. I had a commercial lending background. So I started a mortgage business. Again, think about that corridor. I never would have even gotten there unless I went down the path. I started a mortgage banking business. I sold it 10 years later. From there, I started I knew nothing about starting a franchise. You can all go out and buy a franchise. We all understand that. But starting a franchise where you're going to go and build this and all the legal documents for every state in the country, you're going to have a marketing plan for everybody. You're going to look at the demographics for every little market in the country and how many franchisees you can have, and then sell it. I built it to 760 units nationwide in 18 months, or roughly 18 months, and sold it. It worked. I took some time off. I love being out in the fields with the kids. Well, I love being on these soccer fields. So what do? I don't know anything about publications, but I could see there was nothing in New York that educated anybody on soccer. So I started a soccer publication. 6 months later, we were the official newspaper for New York State Soccer. There was no digital at the time. Full newspaper, 32 pages, 50% ads. I was the only employee. I did the pictures. I got all the pictures, the articles. I sold every ad, put the whole thing together, distributed 167,000 copies a month. It made money from month one on. Sold that. Never started an entertainment company, never even imagined it. A friend of mine who's a producer in California asked me to invest in a movie. I said, how about I invest in you? And he said, what do you mean? So I said, let's start a company. So we started an entertainment company. We did 8 feature-length films with the biggest name stars like Tom Cruise, Natalie Portman, Mark Ruffalo, on and on and on, and the Broadway show Rock of Ages that we created and produced. Rock of Ages. I think it ended as the 26th longest running play of all time. Didn't know anything about it, but I started stupid. I had no idea on how to flip houses, but it always intrigued me. So I had some time and I had some money, and I went to somebody who was good at it. And in 18 months, we did 300 houses, every one of them for a profit. And then I took 5 years off. I thought I was retired, but now we're funding e-commerce merchants, and I knew nothing about it. So let me explain to you starting stupid with AccrueMe right now. I think you'll appreciate it. So we looked at Amazon. One of my partners explained it, or a few of my partners explained to me Amazon merchants. I thought everything came from Amazon. Over 60% comes from individual mom and pops. I had no idea. So I asked my accountants. They gave me 3 merchants. I called them all. At the end, I asked them all, what do you need? They all said the same thing. We need capital. There's no good source of capital. Beautiful. Right up my alley. Brainstorm the problem and possible solutions with my partners. So think about a mastermind group. You want to do something, get together that mastermind group, brainstorm the problem. We outline the problem. We outline the potential business. We develop a spreadsheet. And what happened with that spreadsheet? It was all going good. And then we did the spreadsheet, and we learned that Amazon merchants do better with our funding than anything else. Wow, we were pretty blown away by how good this is. And we also learned that we do better than a bank while helping the Amazon merchant. Fantastic. It's a true win-win. It doesn't get better than that. So now let's do it. Right? That's the extent of the background. So here's the model real quick. We'll provide capital to Amazon sellers. We charge no interest, no fees, no credit check, no personal guarantee, no required monthly payments. I'm going to come back to that. All we get is a small profit share. We don't own any of the business. And so the theory behind the no required payments, think about this. Everybody should think about this because there's a problem with banking that has been going on for 2,000 years. Think about an Amazon seller in Q4. Shouldn't they use all of their money to buy inventory that they're going to make money on very, very shortly and almost overnight? Damn right they should, but no. The banks want them to take money out of their business instead of making money with that money and send it to the bank. It is just dumb, just doesn't make sense. So that's why we said, you know what? Let's help the sellers when they need it. And when they're flush with cash, they're going to make payments. We weren't sure, but that's how it's worked out. Many use our money and don't make any payments, and they go all the way to an exit and they keep the entire upside. God bless them. All right, so starting stupid in practice with AccrueMe, we actually went out to a first group of merchants and we gave them our own money, all right? We had no system to track it. We had nothing. We developed a contract the night before, sitting with the first seller. You know, so this is what starting stupid is. This is how you do it. We had no way to research the merchants. We had to kind of believe what they told us. We did our best to research as much as we could, but we didn't know enough. Our goal was simple. Let's learn this business. And we did. We actually thought we were going to lose some money. We didn't lose money with any of those merchants. In fact, some of those merchants are still with us, and it's exciting. So in summary, I want to urge you all to get out of your comfort zone. You hear that all the time. I hope that visual helps you in some way, because it's always stuck in my mind that's the way I think of things. Just start stupid. Just do it. Get your foot in the door. Buy that business. Build that business. Just start. Don't worry. You go down the path. You'll have problems. You'll overcome them. Everybody on these sessions today has overcome so many problems. It's unbelievable. Just do it. Have a plan, but keep it fluid. Don't forget that corridor effect. Whatever you think your business is day one, I guarantee you one thing, it will be different down the road. You have no idea on what it's going to look like until you get down there. Save for the purpose of starting and owning a business, not for retirement. Retirement's going to be bigger than you ever imagined. Just start that business and keep going down the path. Use other people's money, win big, retire rich, my friends, retire rich. God bless you all. If you want to reach out to me, I'm on LinkedIn. It's my full name, Donald Henig, Henig. My email is don@accrueme.com. And the company, again, is accrueme.com. So thank you very much. And if we have time for questions, I'm obviously always open for that.
Awesome, Don. Awesome. Sorry,
Thanks,
I didn't want to get my video on. I'm not sure why it took me so long to say your name.
It's okay.
Hope you're well. 5:41 a.m. here in Melbourne, Australia. So sorry I'm a bit slow. That was awesome. I loved it. I want to know, just remind us, how many businesses have you started?
Well, I don't know the number, but probably 10 or so.
How many have you sold?
Have I sold? Did you say?
Yeah, how many have you sold?
Probably,
yeah.
Some of them I basically gave to partners and just kept an interest. And so, they would run them and they would cash flow for whatever, and then they would sell eventually. Others I sold. I never, looked at the numbers, but I'm going to say at least 5 or 6.
Right. So maybe 50 or 60% hit rate.
Yeah.
And in most of those cases, I imagine that, you sold, you were happy, but you realized and recognized that there were probably even more substantial opportunities to grow should you have held, but for whatever reason, you chose to exit at that point in time.
You are 100% correct. I will tell you that when I sold my first mortgage company, I sold it. I'm going to tell you exactly what happened, if you don't mind. I think people will appreciate this. I was doing very, very well. And I got a little too big for myself. I was spending too much money on advertising and things like that. I thought I was a big shot. And next thing you know, 1 month I lose, the market changed. I didn't change with it. I lost $100,000. The next month I lost $100,000. I'm like, I'm a tough guy. I can handle this. I could do a couple more months like this. Then another 100,000, then another 100,000. It's like, oh my God, I better make a change. And I got to the, brink, if you will. I made adjustments. I figured things out. I adjusted, got back to par in 3 months. And 6 months later, I was back making, $50,000 net profit a month, and then $100,000 net profit a month. And I realized in the mortgage industry that that time, especially the regulations were so much that if one of my people did something illegal, they could put me out of business. And I didn't like that. I was uncomfortable with that. Yeah. So I sold. And plus I had another business I had already started, the mortgage broker franchise, that I really wanted to put my effort into. But I sold the mortgage company way early. And the biggest mistake I made, that anybody that's selling a business or buying a business, make sure you get an attorney who knows mergers and acquisitions. I happened to use an attorney. I was in the mortgage industry. I used a real estate lawyer. Dumb move. Meant all good. Everything was good. Nicest guy in the world, but no, bad. I left a lot of money on the table, and I hurt myself badly as a result. I still did well, but could have done much better.
What is it about? There'll be people listening in right now, and they'll say, "Wow, this guy started 10 companies, sold 5." Has a crazy risk appetite. There'll be other people saying, wow, I'm going to go and do exactly that. What is it about taking risk or starting a business, or your personality type, you think, that sets you up uniquely? Because clearly some people have the guts to do it and other people less so.
I don't know. Maybe that stupid word is applied to me a little bit more than it should. I don't have that kind of fear necessarily. I believe in taking that shot and looking really big, and I hate to say it, but whether it's, the stock market and a company drops 20%, I look at that very quickly, and that's typically where I'm going to buy, because I can see the upside is huge. If I go to anything, I like to see a big return. So if I'm looking at a potential business and it looks to me like it's going to be 100 to 1, I'm going to put, $100,000 in, and I might make $10 million from that. I'll do it all day long.
Awesome.
Yeah. If I'm putting $100,000 in and I think I'm going to make $100,000, I'm not going to do it. Not a chance.
Understood. Cool. Very cool. Now, look, there's a bunch of other questions from the community here, but we're a bit out of time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take note of those. I'm going to send them those to you, get you to answer them, and then we'll flick them around to those community members.
Sounds great.
Thanks
very much. If anybody wants that slide on, overcoming your fear and success, getting out of your comfort zone, I'll be happy to send that to you. You can share that with anybody you would like.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. We'll get that out to all registrants. Thanks again.
My pleasure. Thank you, everybody.